My hands didn't feel like mine anymore. They were steady now, too steady, as if they had already accepted something I was still refusing to name. I stood in the hotel room, breathing carefully, afraid that one wrong inhale might pull me back too fast, or not fast enough. The weight was still there, not in my arms, in my memory, in my wrists, in the way my shoulders had braced without being told to. I swallowed, and finally, I let myself say it. His hunting rifle. The words didn't explode. They settled. Cold, dense, unavoidable. I hadn't imagined it. My body hadn't invented the sensation. I remembered the balance of it, how it pulled slightly forward, how my fingers had adjusted automatically, how unnatural it had felt against my skin. That rifle had never belonged in my hands, and yet I had taken it. I didn't take it because I was brave. I didn't take it because I was sure. I took it because I had reached the point where thinking felt more dangerous than acting. The plan had existed, quietly, carefully. I had played it over in my mind, not once, not twice, but enough times to know where every step would lead. And then, something broke. Not the plan. Me. The certainty dissolved the moment it became real, the moment the weight of the rifle stopped being hypothetical. I hadn't wanted this version of myself. I wasn't there to kill him. Not anymore. That truth landed with a strange mix of relief and horror. Because if I wasn't there to kill him, then why was I there at all? The answer followed immediately. I had gone back to put it away, to return the rifle before he noticed it was missing, before the thought could take shape in his mind, before it became irreversible. I closed my eyes. The house came back to me in fragments. The door opening, the familiar creak I had learned to avoid years ago, the air inside warmer than it should have been. The lights weren't off. That was the first thing that didn't fit. My stomach tightened as the memory sharpened. The television was on, muted, glowing softly in the corner. I hadn't turned it on. He was awake. My body had known it before my mind caught up. The instinct to retreat came too late. I remembered standing there, frozen, the rifle heavy and wrong in my hands, already calculating how to back out without drawing attention. Then he spoke. My name. Sharp, disbelieving. And then he saw it. His eyes went to the rifle. Not slowly, not with confusion, with recognition. Something ugly crossed his face. Not fear, but outrage. As if I had violated a rule I was never supposed to touch. He didn't need to ask what I was doing. He asked anyway. His voice wasn't loud at first. It didn't have to be. "What do you think you're doing?" The question carried everything underneath it. Accusation, betrayal, loss of control. In that moment, I understood something too clearly. It wasn't just the rifle. It was the combination. The way I stood there. The way I didn't lower it fast enough. The way I had already crossed a line he thought only he was allowed to cross. He thought I was leaving. He thought I had lied. He thought I had planned something. Maybe not the details, but the defiance. And defiance was unforgivable. My mouth opened. No sound came out. I remember wanting to explain, wanting to rewind the last 10 minutes, to place the rifle back where it belonged and pretend this version of myself had never existed. But the room had changed. The air was tighter. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was waiting. I saw it then. Not the violence. Not yet. But the certainty. The shift in him. The moment when control slipped out of reach and turned into something else. Something reckless. Something dangerous. He didn't shout. That was the first thing that truly unsettled me. His voice stayed low, controlled, the way it always did before everything else fell apart. "Put it down," he said. Not a command, a correction, as if I had made a small, embarrassing mistake. I remember thinking how strange it was, that even now, even with that weight in my hands, he still spoke to me like something that needed to be adjusted. I tried to answer him. I don't remember the exact words, only the intention behind them. I wanted to explain, to make it smaller, to rewind the moment until it fit into something harmless. But every sound that left my mouth seemed to make him stiller, more alert. His eyes never left the rifle, not because he was afraid of it, but because it wasn't supposed to be there, not in my hands. My body began to react long before my thoughts caught up. My knees weakened, just slightly, the way they always did when I sensed the shift coming. I forced them to lock. I had learned that trick years ago. My shoulders tensed without permission. My neck tightened. A familiar pressure bloomed beneath my skin. Not pain yet. Anticipation. Survival. I was already bracing. I watched his face change in increments. Not rage, not yet. Calculation. He took a step closer, then another. I measured the distance instinctively, how far he was from me, how far I was from the door. The answer came too quickly, not far enough. My mind tried to intervene. "This isn't happening. You can still fix this. Say the right thing." But my body didn't listen. It had its own memory, its own record. I remembered standing like this before. A different room, a different silence. The night I told him about the pregnancy. The way his expression had sharpened instead of softened. Not anger, expectation. As if something had finally been placed on the table. The accident came later. The ice on the road. The steering wheel jerking in my hands. My heart racing. Not from fear of the crash, but from fear of being late, of giving him another reason. I made it home, and days later the pain came with no warning. White sheets, stillness, a doctor explaining what had already happened. He never said it was an accident. He didn't have to. His silence carried the verdict. You should have been more careful. You always ruin what matters. I had learned then what I was learning again now, that my body would always be on trial. I remembered learning how to stay still, how stillness sometimes bought me seconds. His voice reached me again, quieter now. "Is this what you've been planning?" he asked. The question wasn't looking for an answer, it was rewriting the story. I shook my head. Too fast, too obvious, and I knew immediately that it didn't matter. In his version of events, the plan already existed. My hands tightened around the rifle. Not to aim, not to threaten, but because my fingers had lost the ability to let go. I noticed it with distant clarity, the way you notice blood on your sleeve after it's already there. I wasn't holding it anymore. It was holding me. He moved again. The space between us shrank. The room felt smaller, walls pressing inward, air thickening with everything that had happened before. I searched his face for something, anything that might slow him down. Recognition, hesitation, memory. I found none. And in that narrowing space, with my body already preparing for impact, with my mind still grasping for reason, I knew. There was no version of this where I could simply leave.